What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing a little Khaimera. As always, let's go over the deck first. Now, the gems I start out with are Quick Exit, Armored, Jungle Assassin, Wealthy, Duelist, and then Critical Hits. Now, this is really more of a attack build, so I'm going for more damage over everything. As for the cards, Cull the Weak, Death Crawler, Demolitionist are your first three cards. The first card you want to get is Veil Stepper, then I have Guard Piercer, Swamp Stalker, Heavy Hitter, and then lastly I have Death Crawler. Now, Death Crawler, I have not decided if I like that or not on my jungle hero. I've played a handful of jungle matches and I've used Death Crawler quite a bit, and you are able to hit around 800 or 900 depending on your build or your hero, but I'm not exactly sure if I like that really slow attack speed since I don't have something like Thunder Cleaver or anything like that. I don't have much wave clear. Now, the jungle role has completely changed in version 42. I've played a lot of games as the jungle hero so far, and I've really found that spending much more time farming jungle camps in early game is more worth than actually rotating over and trying to get kills. The jungle camps not only help level up your heroes or help them get that additional gold, but getting kills early game is not near as worth it as it used to be, it feels. Just because in the off lane, I've really found that, you know, Greystone or one of your real, like, good sustain heroes that used to be in that off lane seem to go back to base a lot more, and even if they are forced out of lane, tower damage is just not happening. And most of the games that I've played, the off lane tower goes down before the safe lane tower, it seems. So I've really been more focused on ganking mid over other lanes, and as well as I really spend more time in the jungle, and I sometimes even clear out all 5 camps before I even go to try for a game. Now, another thing about version 42 is it's so much faster than it used to be. As you see here, I'm cleaned out 3 camps now with a total of 7 minions. I'm now cleaning up the green camp, and it's still not even 3 minutes in, so I could actually go over and get that river camp. But I decided to head for mid because Morgesh is pushed up a little too far, and I'm able to just tower dive her. With this green buff, we get this fairly easy kill, and I take very little damage. So we got a real successful early game, mid lane gank, and the river buffs are still currently up, so we could even potentially go for those river buffs. But I am going to help this Iggy push into this tower, just because I know how much Morgesh can push, and while she's out of lane, I'm going to try to get as much damage on this tower as I can. Now, I have been spending a ton of time in the jungle as the jungle hero. I've played a couple of matches with Grux, and I've played, I want to say, 6 or 7 with Khaimera, and I really like this damage build, although I have noticed, even with Grux, if you build this, you know, hyper damage build that I have, towards the end game, once you get to your max level, you really can't do a whole lot. You really fall off. And I could kind of see maybe adding a good sustain card, getting rid of your Veil Stepper, and putting on a really strong, you know, just sustain card in general. That would help you, but this match I keep Veil Stepper to the end, and to be quite honest, I have not played a whole lot of games that last until the very end. And I did manage to play a match just recently that went to 50 minutes, which is almost double what I've been playing. And I was able to complete all 3 ability trees, and I really felt that the game, you know, they talked about it not having a cap, but there was definitely a cap at that point. It was really, hey, we'd get 1 kill, everybody would back up, that kind of thing. So I think these very fast damaging heroes such as Khaimera are really good, but you need to get that farm in the beginning. And as you see here, I'm not waiting for these camps to get to 5 stacks. I'm going ahead and taking them out at 3 stacks just so I can get that early game farm, get my 3 cards in, and really actually be able to do some damage to heroes. Now, I jumped ahead here. We're just at 8 minutes. I do have my green buff, and I'm going to head over to the safe lane. Of course, I'm running through the middle of the map just because I can. I've really been able to bully, or my team's really been able to bully their team and force a lot of people out of lane. Now, I'm going to head into their jungle and just kind of get a little farm. I do see that we are going to have a support or ADC head over to this safe lane, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and take out this phase and really just be able to do tons and tons of damage. My job is to really get these ganks, but like I said, I really find myself wanting to get farm over actually pushing lanes and playing the objective. It seems to me the objective has changed from getting early game towers to getting early game farm. And if you see here, we're at 8 minutes in, and all the towers are fairly healthy. I think the most damaged tower is that mid lane tower from that initial push we had at the beginning of the match. So it's really a just back and forth kind of farm game, and you don't see a whole lot of action until people get out of those beginning cards and start building into those mid game cards where they can actually put power on and do damage. So my idea behind this is by staying and farming the jungle as much as I can get my team to that mid-game, you know, cards earlier than the opposing team, and that's going to allow us to really do some damage and push those enemy heroes. Veil Stepper is probably one of my favorite new cards. I absolutely love this card. I've thought about even putting it on heroes that aren't really, you know, basic damage heroes, or those type of ganking heroes. I've thought about putting it on a couple of mid laners because I've typically been staying in the death category or affinity. I really like the death affinity. It offers some really good damage cards, and I have not really got into tanks yet. I've mostly been playing mid lane, jungle, and support, which were really my 3 comfortable roles previously. So I've kind of been sticking around with death and intellect, or death and chaos, and I've really found some solid decks, which I'll hopefully get that mid lane video out soon. I have made a deck that I have used on pretty much every mid lane hero. I think Howie's the only mid lane hero I haven't played, and this deck does phenomenal with all of them. But besides that, we're talking about mid lane. I really like Veil Stepper. It really allows me to engage just completely unaware heroes, as well as I've been able to escape with Khaimera when, you know, typically Chimera's going to die, but you can dip in through a fog wall, run back out, run to the opposite side fog wall, wait for the cooldown to come off, you know, go back through the fog wall, and then run straight through the middle or go back to where you were, and you've completely confused the enemy team of where you are. And it really is just a escape card or a pure gank card, and I really like that, especially with a hero like Khaimera that does not have a solid escape. 15 minutes in, I've got 3,000 points to spend, which I'm still not really good at spending my points when I have them. I've saved up like 8,000 sometimes, and I kick myself whenever I do spend them, but you know, hey, it's a learning process. But I get a fairly easy kill in this mid lane, and if you see, I'm actually way more fed than the enemy team. And this is strictly because I've spent so much time farming. I'm level 12. I do not have a card that advances my level at all, but I'm level 12 and their offlaner's only level 10. And this is 100% from farming the jungle. I don't have, like I said, I do not have cards that speed up my leveling. As you can see here, I actually only have Veil Stepper and Coal of the Week on. So I've really just been spending entirely way too much time for version 41 in the jungle. But for version 42, I'm spending the perfect amount of time, and I'm really able to do tons of damage. Now I head back and I'm able to put one of my, you know, that mid-ish late game cards on, and this is really going to increase my damage even more. I'm 7-0-1, so I'm doing very good at getting kills. I've got 85 minion kills at this point, which is fairly decent, and most of those minion kills are coming from jungle camps. So I've really started to snowball, and as you saw, I'm way ahead of their offlaner in levels, and I've probably got a superior gold score of the team as well. And my team in general is fed just because I'm making sure to clear out those jungles. If I'm not getting kills, I'm clearing out jungles or defending a lane. There is no, oh, I think I'll try to set this lane and push it. I don't push lanes at all. I clear jungle camps to feed my team. Now this Seraph, I would typically be worried about dealing with a Seraph, especially since she just used her ult, but as you saw, I was able to do massive amounts of damage. And if I didn't have that kind of weird jump that, you know, didn't allow me to get around that corner, I might have even got that kill. And that's just really saying, like, hey, farming is key. But instantly after I get that far or attempt that gank, get her out of lane, I head back to my jungles and start farming the jungles. Now, I used to only farm the safe lane side of jungles. I find myself farming the off lane jungles. I even go and farm the actual off lane jungle now, and I've really just found, you know, version 42 Farming Simulator is the name of the game. It's no longer about who has the best skills, it seems. It's more about who has the best cards, and how to get those cards is through farm. Now, I've still currently got that same build, and if you see here, Iggy's still not able to down our tower, our tier 1 tower, and I'm able to just really put pressure. Do you see how fast I'm able to take him out? It's absolutely crazy. Of course, I have played a handful of games against Iggy where he suspected where I was going to be and had his turrets down. He's absolutely able to destroy me, but right now, with the way I am farmed, I'm able to just do massive amounts of damage, and this is really limiting the enemy team as to how they can defend against me. Of course, this was always the case in Paragon. Whichever team kind of got ahead on farm was, you know, superior, but that didn't necessarily mean they would win the game. But to me, it really feels now, if you are ahead on farm, you're going to win that game. Just because you're able to put so much pressure on. And me paired with that Veil Stepper where I can go invisible at any time I'm going to gank somebody, I can invis. It's just an amazing combination, and I've really been able to bully teams as well as just clear out jungle camps. And with Khaimera Sustain, you can stay in. The only time you need to go back to lane or go back to base is to buy a card. I have not really found times where I need to go back to base for mana or, you know, to recharge on health, just because jungle camps don't do a whole lot and I can fully farm myself on jungle camps. Here I'm able to dive this Iggy again under his tower. I had green buff, so I'm taking very little damage. And that small little rotation where I got aggro on those minions is going to help my safe lane push a little more. But I'm going to go ahead and head to mid lane since we did have some trouble there, but wasn't able to make it in time. So I'm just going to kind of get out, go ahead and pick up this river buff, get out, stay safe, and just go back to my farm. Now at 23 minutes in, I've really became just an absolute monster. I'm getting fairly close to being max agility, and I'm able to just put out so much damage to these unfarmed heroes. Now, I take out that Murdoch just insanely fast, and Morgesh, you know, she might have been able to get away, she might not have, but with me and Iggy there, she stood no chance of getting away. FaZe actually ends up rotating over to help out and try to save a life, but we end up getting a little bit of damage on her, and I'm out of mana, so I'm going to go ahead and retreat, but Iggy said, hey, let's stay in. So I end up heading back in lane, and I'm able to really push this inhib with Iggy, and I even end up wrapping up this FaZe kill. Now, I'm not really going to talk about what I think is overpowered or anything like that. I think we're going to see a lot of changes with version 42. I think there's a lot of people that are unhappy with how cards are performing and things like that, and that's really for another video, but a support hero stands no chance against a caster and a jungler for defending an inhib, and we were just able to really put so much damage on that it goes down almost effortlessly, and we get that kill under tower with it. I do have almost 5,000 gold to spend, and I'm going to just head back to my jungle and get some more jungle farm. And if you see here, typically, I would not be jungling anymore. I would have already quit jungling at this point, or jungling near as much. And of course, I do have 5 camps because I have been going on a bit of a rampage, but I do have my off lane camps clear. And so I was just kind of waiting on these to get 5 stacks, and I'm able to come and clean them up and get a ton of experience for my team and myself. I grab my green buff, and then I'm going to head back in lane. I'm already almost at full mana again due to that river buff, so there's really no reason for me to back right now. Now I do end up heading over to our off lane. Murdoch is pushing by himself pretty far, and I was hoping to turn around and come behind him right there at that gold buff, but it turns out he pushes a lot further than I anticipated he would, and I'm able to jump on him. Now, if you see there, I started with my ult. That's really, I didn't want to waste my jump on him. Just in case he did knock me back, I would be able to jump towards him. The knockback seems to work a lot better in version 42 than it did in version 41. I don't know if that's just because there weren't a whole lot of Murdochs, and so I didn't notice it as much, but I have had an issue with Khaimera when you use your jump to engage or ambush to engage. Murdoch is able to get a decent distance on you before you're able to get back and engage on him again, and by that time he might do enough damage to actually kill you. Now we end up grabbing Orb Prime, and this is really kind of the end of the game. We all kind of group up and push a lane, and you know, we had just a really great game, or I had a really great game anyways. Our team did very well, and I think that me just staying in that farming lane is really kind of the key to the new jungle role. I don't really see ganking as much of an issue, especially until you get those mid-game cards. You are not going to get a successful gank unless the enemy is pushed up very far. And so I've really just been farming at the beginning, get everybody a decent amount of card points, and then I can start rotating and things like that. Now, if you see here, I've got just tons and tons of buffs on. I'm at 35 stacks of regen, so even though I'm taking tons and tons of damage, I'm still able to live through all of this. I'm able to heal up, and I'm just swinging like crazy. I actually end up going in on this inhib, and Murdoch was able to take out that Iggy, so we just really kind of push a little bit more, and we finish this game. Well, as this video wraps up, guys, I'd just like to say I really enjoy playing this jungle, and this deck is really fun, although in that game that I did get a little further into the match, you do definitely fall off. Even though you can stack vitality and intellect and everything like that, once you get to that end game, you really don't have just a whole lot to offer. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love. Leave me a comment. Think about subscribing. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.